A deal with a ghost. My story began one summer when I decided to spend my vacation in the countryside, where I had spent my childhood. It was a quiet place with picturesque hills, dense forests, and a river that shimmered like silver in the sun. I had long dreamed of returning to this place, to the old family home that had been empty for years. The house greeted me with silence and a faint scent of dust settling on the old furniture. For the first few days, I worked on cleaning, trying to bring the house back to life. A sense of calm and connection with nature filled me. But the peace didn't last long. On the first night, I woke up to a strange sound, like someone walking down the hallway. At first, I thought it was the old wooden floorboards creaking with the temperature change. But then I heard a distinct tapping at the bedroom door. Cold sweat dripped down my forehead. Summoning all my courage, I got out of bed and opened the door. There was no one there. The next day, I told a local resident, Grandfather Grigori, who lived nearby. He simply shook his head and said, "Old houses hold memories. Sometimes the past tries to remind you. Stay strong, boy, and don't be afraid if someone knocks again." Over the following nights, the sounds continued. Footsteps, whispers, tapping. And then, on the third night, something changed my life forever. I woke up as my bed gently rocked, as if someone had sat beside me. My heart raced, but I forced myself to open my eyes. Before me stood a figure, translucent, dressed in old-fashioned clothing. It was a man with a stern face, his eyes locked onto mine. "Sakum, who are you?" I asked hoarsely. "The one who lived in this house before you?" he replied. His voice was deep, almost otherworldly, echoing in my ears. We sat in silence, staring at each other. Then he spoke again. "I have an offer for you. Fulfill it, and you will receive what you desire the most. Refuse, and this house will become your prison." I wanted to ask what the offer was, but he disappeared, leaving only a faint scent of old books. The next evening, sitting on the porch, I tried to make sense of what I had seen. Who was that man? A ghost? My imagination? Could he truly help me? I didn't know what I wanted most, but something inside me knew this needed to be explored. At exactly midnight, he appeared again. This time he sat by the fireplace. I decided there was no point in being afraid anymore. "What do you want from me?" I asked. "Return the debt," he replied simply. "What debt?" "Long ago, when I was still alive, I lost something that belonged to me. A family relic. It was a ring with a black stone. It was stolen and buried somewhere in the forest near the house. Find it and return it to me. In return, I will grant your deepest wish." I couldn't tell if this was real or a dream, but something compelled me to agree. The next morning, I set off into the forest. I took an old map I found in the house and a shovel. The forest was dense, and it felt like the trees were watching every move I made. After hours of fruitless searching, I came across a small hill that matched the mark on the map. I began digging. Deep beneath the earth, I found something hard. It was a box covered in moss. Opening it, I saw the ancient ring with a black stone that glimmered in the light. Suddenly, a gust of wind howled, and I felt as though someone was standing behind me. I sharply turned. No one. That night, I placed the ring on the mantle. The ghost appeared almost immediately. "You did well," he said, taking the ring. "Now it's your turn. What do you want?" I didn't know what to say. My life was filled with struggles and disappointments, but what did I desire most? After a few moments of silence, I said, "I want to know the truth. About myself. About this house. About you." The ghost smiled. His face became less stern. "The truth has always been here, but you didn't see it. You are the heir to this house as well as all its secrets. And I am your ancestor, bound to this place through the loss of the relic. Now that you have returned it, I can leave. But remember, this house has its own will. It chose you for a reason." With those words, he disappeared. I was left alone with a multitude of questions. After that night, the house became quieter. But it no longer seemed like just an old building. It breathed, lived, watched. Occasionally, I would hear soft whispers or gentle footsteps, but they no longer frightened me. On the contrary, I felt at home. Sometimes I look at the ring that now sits on my desk. It reminds me that this world is full of mysteries, and most importantly, that each of us must find our truth, even if it means making a deal with a ghost.